money sold. I thought I told you. Only rocking with the agent and the broker. Yeah, move over. We getting bolder. Making moves like the agent and the broker. Yeah, generational wealth, they bout that. Yeah, we took some L's, but we bounced back. Financial literacy, got that. Closing up the wealth gap, yeah, I'm black. Welcome to the Agent and Broker Podcast, hosted by Julian and James. And you know they bringing nothing but that black boss talk, man. Cause there's no currency stronger than the black dollar. And it's time we let the world know. But first we gotta grow though, and that's for sure.
Peace, family, peace. What's going on, James?
What's going on, man? How you doing? I'm doing good. How are you, brother?
Brother, I'm good. I'm blessed. Happy to be here another week in another episode of the Agent and Broker Podcast. I am your co-host, Julian, the agent, license W626089.
And my name is James Danizer, license number W2823336 down here in Florida.
Yes, sir. And tonight we have a very, very dope guest, guys. His brother is a former NFL star, man. A former defensive end, played at the University of Richmond. This guy is very, very smart brother. I met him at a Kangaroo Heroes NFT event, and we connected there. And I was just like hearing this story and background. I'm like, yeah, I got to bring him on a podcast because I want people to understand, that you can transition from anything. And coming from football and sports, and me being a former college athlete, I have a lot of former football people who played football with me or who are still playing football, and it's hard for them to transition into the real world. So it's good to bring people like this on the podcast. And I'm excited for this episode, man. What about you, James?
Oh, man. You have no idea. I'm very, very excited to see the content. And one of my favorite thing on the show is the diversity we bring into the people, to the listeners. And by the way, to all our listeners, we appreciate you, and, keep downloading and share this podcast because, the number one thing we want to do is to bring you value, and the diversity behind the guests we bring in, it's a big deal, because even though we're in the financial industry, we, doing life insurance and, funding and, fixing credit, and, we do a lot of things under the financial spectrum. Right. However, there are things out there, there are other things, other careers out there we want you to be aware of. So whenever we have, the opportunity to bring, somebody like our special guest tonight, it's always a fascinating, moment to me, because how I go with my questions, man, because I want to know.
Absolutely. So, and there's a lot of money, man. I heard it's a lot of money in this stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight, from trucking to, anything in entrepreneurship that he has done, and, from his professional level. So we're going to talk money. We're going to talk trucking, entrepreneurship. Let's bring on our guest, Mr. Lawrence Sidbury Jr.
Fellas, was good. Lawrence Sidbury Jr., agent number 020686. That's my birthday.
Being on here tonight with us, we got your Instagram down there for people to follow you. So if you're looking at the screen, you can follow Lawrence on Instagram. Pretty much his name. So Lawrence Sidbury Jr. And it's an honor to be interviewing you today, but really it's going to be conversational, man. We want to talk business. We want to talk money and new opportunities and things like that. And we want you to learn from us as much as we learn from you tonight. So we want to thank you for being here, honestly.
100%.
I appreciate it. I got some questions for y'all at the end too. I'm gonna learn something while I'm here.
For sure. Oh yeah, for sure. So get this thing started, man. People starting to come in. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to comment. Leave any comments on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. Just leave some comments if you want to ask any questions, and we'll put that on the screen. But starting everything off, let's get into it, man. Who are you? Who is Lawrence Sidbury Jr.? Where you're from? Let's give us a background. Let's break the ice.
break the ice first and foremost. Child of God first and foremost. From Prince George's County, Maryland. Graduated from Oxon Hill High School. Went to University of Richmond, as y'all said. Computer science major. 7-year NFL career. Atlanta Falcons, Indianapolis Colts, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Went back to school after I finished. Got my MBA from Indiana University, Keller School of Business, and now full-fledged entrepreneur, my brother. I'm an avid learner. I love to learn. I love to execute. I love to win. I'm a sponge. Humble spirit. I love to win. I love to see people win, and I want everybody around me to win.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. That's beautiful. Very, very humble, coming from you. And like we're going to ask you a question, like we said, but it's gonna be a conversation. But just to deepen a little bit on your background, I was looking a little bit, from you, and you was drafted, I believe, back in 2009 with the Falcons, correct?
That's right.
Awesome, man. So, my question to you, what was life like growing up? Because, people may see the end result, but what was life like growing up and the dynamic of your parents?
Oh man, I was blessed. I grew up. I had both my parents. It's crazy to say that now. It's such an anomaly now. But my mom and dad was married. My father deceased for 6 years now. Growing up in my life, I had both of them in my life. They were married my entire life. Come from a middle class neighborhood, but I pretty much, as my parents worked harder, our situation got better. So pretty much everything, how I was molded is that hard work and education will better your situation. So as my mom, she went back and got her doctorate degree, educated herself further. My father, he moved up in his job, and the pendulum just kept going up and up and up for us. By the time I got to high school, as I went into college, and behind that was hard work, discipline, dedication, and sacrifice. I know that stuff sounds boring, but those are the building blocks and the cornerstones, of the dream. People think the dream is waking up one day and stuff just happens. Right. But your work ethic, that's the underpinning of everything you do. And everybody who's super successful or has achieved anything will tell you that's the underpinning of, their goals and dreams of success.
Oh, and that dynamic. So that relationship with your father, how was that like? Was that a good, solid relationship?
I'm gonna tell you, I can talk about it now.
I
can talk about it now and not get emotional. My father was my best friend. I'm actually coming to the stage in my life, and I wish he was here to see some of the stuff I was doing.
I'm sure.
I can pick up the phone sometimes. I pick up the phone and call home. His voice still on the voicemail. And, shaking back real quick. But my father was a relentless worker, man. He was the cleanup person at his job. When something went wrong, that's who they called. I watched him get up early, 5 a.m, religiously every day, pretty much what seemed like my whole life. Go to bed around 9. He just had a schedule, and he did whatever it took to make it happen. And I know that quality is something that's in me. Is why I go for it. Go hard for what I want. And the entrepreneurship part was something that I know that he wanted to do. Of course, he's not here anymore, but now I just feel like it's time for me to be in this point where I am to take it to the next level. Not just he went to college. Okay, I went to college twice. Well, my mom got a terminal degree, so she trumps me. But I feel like I got to take it to the next level, and what's come behind me got to go to the next level. So just trying to make him proud. I know he is. If he was here, he probably be working with me, working with me or working for me. But I keep that in the back of my mind as I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's powerful, man. And you mentioned something, and that's. I mean, listen, man. We here, and everybody that's listening. When it comes to conversation like that, that's one of the things I personally love. And you mentioned something that's really important. You was raised with both parents, and we know right now it's really, most of us out there are being raised by a single parenthood. So it's a very, very powerful thing. When mom and daddy's in the household. And you mentioned 3 things, man. I wrote it down: is hard work, discipline, and sacrifice. And most people, just to piggyback on what you said, most people, they won't see the hard work, they won't see the sacrifice, they won't see this discipline, they'll see the end result. So, you know, I applaud you, and I'm pretty sure your community applaud you as well, you know, for having that type of standard, and it shows on who you becoming today as well. You know, so we want to see more people, you know, like us, young as us, are so disciplined to actually make it to where you are right now, being an entrepreneur. And even though you was an NFL, you actually had a good transition, becoming a successful entrepreneur. And we're gonna get more deeper into that. But one of the questions I have, man, what was the biggest moment in your career? You know, people may see you on the big screen. You know, if they don't know who you are, they may be Googling you right now after the show. But when it comes to your career, what was your biggest moment, would you say?
Biggest moment of my career. Dang, bro. I will say first, I'll say, you know what? I'll say the biggest moment in my career, I will say probably came at the beginning. Though we accomplished a lot of things. I was on a lot of great teams in Atlanta. I was on a great team in Indianapolis. I would say that the biggest moment for me was probably draft day, because it just marked so much. You know, my high school, I love my high school, but it was like bad news bears, man. We won one game. I was played varsity 3 years. We won one game each year, 1-9 each year. I didn't go to a big college, but you know, I love the University of Richmond. It's, you know, probably like a big fish in a small pond. Is, you know, kind of a family atmosphere. It took a little minute for me to transition to the school because, you know, the dynamic of the school coming from where I came from. But you know, sometimes you just feel like it's you against the world. Sometimes, you know, everybody has doubters, and sometimes people don't believe in you. And this has kind of come from relatively unknown to work myself into that position. I actually have my name called, which, you know, going to the NFL really wasn't a lifelong dream of mine. I fell in love with the game. I'll say I fell in love with the game really probably once I got in college, because I just wanted to go to school for free at first. And probably by my second year, it just clicked with me. I was like, you know what, I can do this. And me, my roommate, shout out Tim Hightower, he played in the league as well. Man, we just had this undying spirit, like, bro, we're gonna defy the odds. We're gonna make it from this University of Richmond, this school that my high school had more students than University of Richmond. You know, Richmond was nothing. It really was nothing when we got there. Not saying they had success in the past, but when we got there, you know, they weren't accomplishing much of anything, just to be told. So it's just like the combination of all the hard work, getting up late, discipline, you know, having to prove yourself against guys that go to bigger schools, and just the late nights, the extra workouts when people didn't know I was working out after the workout, you know, all that stuff coming. Like that day was it was a blessing.
Wow.
Pretty cool, man. Wow.
So you got
I'm keeping it real, you know.
No, for sure.
You asked me, hey man, do you want to run down on the questions? And I was like, oh, I wanted to be
exactly.
So
you wanted to be genuine, and that's good, man. And bro, the intellect is ridiculously it's ridiculous. I already knew from, you know, just how you answer, how you when I first talked to you, and then when you posted on Instagram, I knew you were very detail oriented. You know what I'm saying? Like most people will post and just post it and be like, oh, I'm going live on the podcast. You drop every single tag, you drop everything, and you let your followers know where to find the podcast. Those little details right there tells me everything about a person and how they look at life, and then how they operate in their life. So I know that you operate your businesses in that same manner.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You know, I've come to realize that some of the stuff I that's just how I am, and I kind of just do that. But I realize, you know, no two people are the same. But even if you're not the same, you got to get that way, because the devil's in the details.
Absolutely.
Insurance, y'all mess up on somebody's policy, man. You misquoting us the wrong amount of money. The payment might be wrong. The draw might be incorrect. You know, somebody say, you know, they pass away, the amount of money the family, like you have to be detailed. especially as an entrepreneur, everything falls on you. So you kind of don't have a choice.
Yeah.
If you're not good at it, it's one of the things you better get good at because your success depends upon it.
Absolutely. So how did you transition to that? Did you always have that trait, that character and that trait? And were you always paying attention to details? Because most athletes aren't like that. You know, their mind is going super fast and it's almost like they're skipping over the littlest things in life, but they do it on the football field. They apply it on the field, but outside of that, it's just like, it's almost like, you know, when you had schoolwork and you just had go ahead and cheat whatever real quick, get it done, turn it in and all of that. But that stuff permeates in real life. So did you always have that trait, or did you develop that just during college, or was that from your childhood?
You asked me two questions, so I'm gonna answer both of them. First one, some of it I think is innate. You know, I'm a self-starter, naturally competitive spirit, but you know, part of it is also just the rearing and where I was molded as a child, man. You know, my father's from Hampstead, North Carolina. It's outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. Man, it's developed now, but I can just imagine when he grew up, it was nothing there. So the work ethic is even going back then, the generation before us going to college was a big thing for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And my mom from Southeast DC, you know, for her to make it out of there, you know, education was the way. So they just always instilled in me that if it's something you want, you got to work for it. And as being a young black man, even though I will say I was blessed, some things do come a little bit easier to me, but sometimes you got to be 2 times better than what they got to be. And so what? It might be slanted against us, but you know what? The color of our skin ain't changing. So you got to do what you got to do. So if you got to put in the extra work to get where you got to go, you got to do it. You just can't make any excuses. Some stuff is going to be what it's going to be. So it is what it is. Type of mentality is probably not the best, but when it comes to getting stuff done, man, it just is what it is. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
The second question, man, I forgot your second question. I got so lost in the first one. The first one was about me. The second one was man, I forgot what it was.
It's about the athletes.
Oh, the athletes.
Yeah.
Honestly, about that, I think a lot of people don't really realize, and some of the guys who plan don't really realize, man, their ability to process information in such short amount of time, like on the field, we make split-second decisions.
Right.
Like pre-snap, during the on the fly, we make decisions. I might go back and watch film, and it'll be like, "Hey, man, explain." You know, I got the clip. Explain to me what happened right here, and that guy can tell you why. You know, he's putting himself back into the play, telling him why he did this or why he went this way. I saw number 3 do this, so I did this, but he did this and I did this.
Right. All
they really got to do is realize, man, if you can take that same amount of focus, and it's not going to be as gratifying as hitting somebody or throwing a touchdown or throwing a touchdown pass or, you know, running for 1 million yards. But you take that same mentality, the same work ethic, and zero it in on whatever you're going to do, whether it be a business. But most time, most players end up being entrepreneurs because they've been under somebody else's watch for so long, on somebody's skin for so long. If they can just find that one thing and put that same work ethic and put that same amount of energy to that one thing, man, it'll blow up. The problem is that guys don't find that one thing. But once they find it, you see those stories of those athletes who, you know, they going super hard, whatever they're doing, and they're more successful post-career than they were as a. So the problem is they just got to find that one thing.
That's so true. Because James, remember we had Larry, one of our first guests was Larry Hope. He played corner. I think he played corner for Miami for a little bit, and he's pretty much saying the same exact thing, bro. Like the same thing. And that transition and him finding something where he could thrive in, you know, that was like football. And ever since then, he's just been thriving and building businesses and using that same competitive nature in the life of business. So
can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
So I will say, like, part of it, probably one of my best attributes I can say is that, man, I learn from anybody, and I listen to anybody. Sometimes, you know, you have this period where, you know, you the man. Everybody looking at you, like they're looking at you as you're a football player, and realize, you know, really, we just playing a sport. But people, you know, it's such a fantasy to everyone else that people, you know, pedestalize or possibly idolize the person who's playing. But you know, once you get out of that, well, you go back to being a student again.
Yeah.
So you gotta use those same listening ears when you was listening to the coach about playing this technique. The same listening ears when you was going to the vet about how to do X, Y, Z, or with this person. You might be year 1 or 2, and the vet might be 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're gonna listen to him. So now you just gotta find that same mentor or that same vet in the business world, and just have enough humility about yourself to start from ground zero. Because for the most part, successful people love to talk about themselves. Let's be honest. They love to talk about their story, and they also find value in an athlete who's trying to recreate themselves and actually trying to do something different outside of just saying 10, 5 teams later, oh, I played X, Y, Z. It don't matter no more. Once it's over, bro, it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm to be honest, it's over. Like you like everybody else. Yeah, the cachet still, it will get you into some doors, but you gotta prove yourself.
Exactly.
So use that cachet to get you into the door. Use that cachet to get, to get that seat at the table and learn.
Right.
Learn, and work just as hard as you did when you were running the sprints, lifting those weights, going to training, eating right. It's the same skill set that make you successful as an athlete, that make you successful in business. And some people find it out. But if you can do that, man, it's easy.
Yeah, that's strong right there, man. Because it has everything to do with the mindset. You know, every single skills, and which kind of go back to what you said earlier. Is hard work, is discipline, and I think and the sacrifices. Those 3 things, it kind of turned back full circle on what you just said just now. But anyway, the next question we have for you, as you was growing up, and I know you grew up in a 2 household family. Mom and dad was there. Did you have financial planning guidance as you was growing up? And what was your personal experience with that, if any?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what my mom used to do. When I was a little boy, she used to go handle business, like go to the bank. They had a couple of runners to go do stuff like that. Even sometimes she go negotiate in the car, and she saw negotiate like going to buy a car, and she's always saying, "Hey, sit right there, don't say nothing, just listen." So I would kind of just train to be a sponge, you know what I'm saying, from day one, because everywhere she went or whatever she handled or whatever they handled, whether either one of them, my mom or dad, they took me with them. But it was not that they was dragging me along; they was trying to teach me. And this from it's crazy the things you remember, from being a little kid. I remember sitting there and while she was negotiating, going back and forth with the salesman. I remember going to the bank where we might have went to the safe deposit box, or she was trying to open an account, or even dealing with a tenant, or dragging me over there on Saturday morning to do work at the property instead of letting me go play with my friend. Like, you remember those things. So I did, those experiences as a kid kind of, they stuck with me. And then really, and just asking questions, man. Look, if I don't know something, I'm gonna ask a question. Now, fortunately, I was fortunate enough to have, 2 parents that, that experience and stuff. And they took chances on stuff when other people in my family didn't. You know what I'm saying? That was that's really the only difference, taking a chance. So I'm sure they learned some hard lessons and learned by burn before I was old enough or before I was around to know what was going on. But, they dropped that knowledge on me. So now, I was equipped with, a few tools, but not knowing everything. But I'm definitely grateful for the things that they showed me. And, my mom's still here now. And, she's a lifelong learner, just like me. She learns stuff when we talk. And, we actually teach each other. So, it's
beautiful.
Ongoing thing,
yeah. That's beautiful.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Props.
For sure. And then, the financial planning, everybody knows you get into the NFL. So you almost understand. Well, not really, probably didn't fully understand what was going on in the car dealership and all of that, but you're hearing that, you're soaking it in. Getting to this next level in the NFL, salaries get bigger. So we're talking 6-figure salaries. How did you adjust to that? Did you have financial advisors? How was your experience with that and that process in the NFL when it comes to the money set? Things change when the money comes in. You got people calling you got agents, you got all of these things. Like, how did that NFL contract look? And how is your financial planning around it? And, did you utilize that to get to your next level, to your next ventures?
I had an advisor. I still got the same advisor. Was referred to me by someone who I trust. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any issues then. But as far as like salary wise, and I handle my money, man, it's always best live below your means. You know what I'm saying? So I treated the salary I got as a player as a few years working salary. So I divided by however many years I felt like at the time, and I treated it as such, and I lived as such. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a pauper, but I'm definitely not over the top when it comes to spending money like that. It's just not me. It probably I want raised like that. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm just saying I got a brain. So if I spend all of this, it's gonna be a point where I'm not playing. So it's like common sense kind of tells me, hey, I probably need to put something up to save for a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody don't think like that, you know. Some people in the locker room, they do what they want to do, you know. People spend it, you know. Some people aren't, you know, can't say no. My father was an awesome no person. I'm a hell of a no person myself as well. But you know, and everybody's situation is different, man. You know, some people, you know, gotta take care of mom, gotta take care of pop. Some people, they feel indebted to everybody that call. I don't. You know, I didn't. Because you just can't do it. And that's one thing my father told me, you know, I mean, right when the day I got drafted, he said, son, you know, it's okay to help people who want to help you when you need help. So you just, you know, you got to keep that in the back of your mind. Like, you know, I've done some stuff that they don't know about, but I got my limits, you know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, common sense just told me, hey, I probably shouldn't spend all of this because there's an off season and there's, you know, the average career, I think they were saying was 3 years, but now it's like 2 point some whatever years.
Yeah.
Like you just gotta do it or you're gonna be hurting if you're not. I mean, point blank period.
Right. And they cut you right before them benefits kick in too.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
It's a business decision. You gotta be looking at it like a business too, because they are.
Yeah, we know
like,
they got people upstairs that's you know, somebody paid probably an actuary calculating your risk, you know, calculating your percentage of getting hurt based upon injury. Who gonna be on the hook for benefits after you get done?
Right.
You know, all kind of stuff. It's a business, man. And I think once you realize it, you know, we all fall in love with the game, but once you realize how much of a business it is, man, you know, you doing your job, you know, to provide for yourself, provide your family. You still love it. You know, you still love the interaction with your teammates and being in the locker room and playing. And, you know, practicing too. But you have to understand that it's a business. But I think the guys they getting it now, though. They definitely getting it.
It's really not 100% emotion anymore. It's like, oh man, I love the game, and you know, I'll do all this XYZ, and finding out it's a business. And one thing, one perspective I really love as we're talking about, you know, business is I believe people should stop looking at themselves at some extent as an individual. You should see yourself as a business. Because everything you are as your number or from your social security or to whatever number, that's how you perceive. You're being perceived as an entity. So if you see yourself as an entity, well, how would you take care of an entity? And from there, you can actually, you know, do what's best for that entity. And a lot of time, even though when we go to, I mean, I don't want to get off subject at all, but when you go to the court system, people go to the court system with an emotional perspective or logical, but no, they don't even see you like that. You know, it's whatever the law said or whatever the article XYZ 325 whatever it says, that's what you're gonna get, you know, relate to your case. So, you know, that's just to not to deviate, but just to show you, or part of my belief is you should see yourself as an entity and take care of that entity, you know, like your life depending on it. But doing that transition, man, you know, coming from your career to business, when did that transition actually happen from, you know, to get into business as an entrepreneur?
While I was still playing.
That's what's up. Explain, man. We gotta unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, for real.
I can tell you. So, like, when the end is coming, you kind of get a feeling. But it wasn't even really at the end. I think when I was in Indianapolis, I tore my rotator cuff during the preseason, missed the whole season. So that was like the first time I recognized like my football mortality, right? I was like, well, man, you know, I was on injured reserve, I was on IR, I was still getting paid, and I was like, well, you know what? I could just sit here and just rehab, but I was like, no, let me find out something else to do. So actually, one of my college teammates, I'm gonna shout him out, his name Lamont Jones. He owns a Richmond Construction Group in Baltimore, Maryland. He's like, Sid, man, you gotta look, you got this time, you gotta get down and come see what's happening with this real estate market in Baltimore. So I'm like, well, shoot, all right, we'll see what's going on because you know the league is a funny thing. You don't know what's going to happen, man. You know, somebody may want to say either you in or you out. Whether you can still play. I mean, you guys watch now. Dudes getting cut not because of lack of production. They get cut for the salary. He is a service. They bring in somebody cheaper. Like that happens. So, man, I went up there and we rode around certain parts of the city, and he showed me a couple houses, showed me how to get them. I was like, man, Lamont, you know what? All right, I'm gonna do it. So I did that. I think I bought the houses during the year, and then I got signed to the Bucks the year after that. And man, I had a deal in motion. I had two in motion at one time. One closed before the other one. And I remember, man, that wire hit my bank account before practice while I was running so fast in practice, man. I had no mental errors in practice while I was so happy. Like, man, what's up? Clarity. Like, my first house just closed, and I'm about to go out of practice. So I started doing that during, while I was playing. So I was already really, trying to prepare myself while I was still playing, and as well as taking advantage of a bunch of programs the league have too. Some guys don't take advantage of it, but I did two internships, and I did two business entrepreneurship programs, one at Wharton School of Business at UPenn, and the other one at Kellogg and Northwestern. So I was always trying to find a way
that's major.
to enrich myself while I was still playing. You got to take advantage of it. Look,
right.
You got
it's out there.
Yeah,
it's out there.
And they also reimbursed me tuition for my master's too.
Wow.
So, I was already, I started working on my master's during my last year playing too, and I finished it, the year I came out. So I started the transition while I was, I was coming home from practice, studying, I watched film, and then, I started, some of my classwork. If I had time, this is about managing your time. I was able to go to practice. I was still able to work out. After practice, I always worked out after practice extra. I was able to watch film, do treatment, and then if I had a little, the extra hour or two before I went to sleep when I was, not doing nothing, I took class.
Oh, man, so that proves there's no excuse that you can do football and you can do other things at the same time. Most people think that they only need to focus or they only can focus on football, but you're multitasking, like you said, while you're in the game, you're multitasking. Or you're doing multiple things. You're thinking ahead. Like you're looking at this play on that other, or you're looking at the quarterback. If you're playing safety, you're looking at certain things. You're reading the field. So it's possible you did entrepreneurship classes while you was in your last year, you said, right?
No, the entrepreneurship classes like through the league was in the off season. So like those
it's off season.
In between with the season,
there's nothing going on.
Yeah, it was like nothing. And it was like 3 day, like 30-hour intensive. So it wasn't like it was nothing. It was like 30 classes. Like 3.5 days. So we basically from sun up to sundown. But man, it was good, and I got to network, and I met a lot of people. It's it was a lot of guys who think like that now. It was probably like 40 or 50 people each time, but it should have been more. It's free.
Absolutely.
So I did that twice.
The resources. So what was your first venture at the transition once you were while you were in fishing?
My first venture was just the real estate, and I was in that flipping houses. That's why I sustained myself. Went straight from when I was on the street, as we call it, being done. That's what I was doing, and I was still working out every day, hoping to get a phone call because we always we're gonna work out for a little bit and hang in there, to see if we, still, somebody gonna call you. But I was doing that, and I had somebody I trusted too. Lamar was not just my business partner; he's like my brother too. And he taught me a whole lot. but really, as far as on the investment side, taught me everything I know. Again, listen, he taught me everything I know on that side, man. So, I'm forever indebted to him. Our conversation between he and I be a lot different. We talk like brothers, but he really, he showed me how to eat. He showed me how to eat. So that was the first. Now, as far as the trucking thing, I know we're gonna segue into that. I'm going on year 3 in that, and I owe that to my brother named Mario Wright. He's here in Atlanta too. We met at an entrepreneurship meetup. Probably was like February, right before the pandemic, like February 2020, like probably like a couple weeks before everything shut down. And man, he showed me some of the ropes and that, and man, we've been rocking and rolling ever since. I learned a lot, been some ups and downs, but it's an awesome industry to be in, and now I'm just trying to grow and expand in some other areas too.
For sure. Dang.
Yeah,
So you went from the league to you were doing real estate with a partner in the league, and so that was kind of when you start seeing the transactions. I know it really woke you up. Like, okay, like there's money, like it's real money too. So what were the transactions looking like then? So if you was flipping a house, what would the transaction look like? What the numbers look like?
The first deal I closed, I got a wire for 40 bands before I went out to practice. I was getting dressed. Look, I was getting dressed. I'm sitting in my locker, right? It's the first one. I'm sitting in my locker. I put my stuff on. I'm about to put my pants right. I look at my phone. Let me check if it's on here yet. Man, I seen that. I put my cleats on off and out the door, boy. Hey, that was the fastest I ever ran out there.
40 racks. 40 racks.
And that was my first investment, man. Obviously, man, you got people doing deals for way.
Oh yeah.
But for my first, for my first project,
right?
And I was really, really happy about it. And it just shows you like there's other ways to make money besides beating your body up, man. You got a lot of people out here with 7, 8, 9 digit wealth. Mm-hmm. It ain't still one hit. You know what I'm saying? So after you enjoy, after you play the game, after your body, when your body says time, time to hang it up, man. Then the kind of people you aspire to be like, man, because there's a lot of successful people out here, and you'd be amazed at some of the stuff they do.
Right. Was that a flip? Like a renovation and rehab and sale?
Yeah, that was a flip, yeah.
Okay. In what city?
In Baltimore.
Baltimore still? Okay. Yeah. That's dope. So you had your boy, he's in, you say he has a construction development?
His own construction, Richmond Construction Group. Lamont a couple years older than me. He was a senior when I was a freshman in college. So we on this wing. We went to church in this tiny red, what was that car? Two-door coupe. Man, it was so small. We was cramped in the back, but ever since that day, we've been locked down.
That's lit.
Yeah. Imagine a 6'2". You 6'2", right?
6'3". I'm talking about
6'3", 6'4". Yeah. The smaller the car.
A Prelude. We was I was in the back, and it was 2 doors. You got to fold the seats back to fold the seat up to get in the back. And man, I'm sitting all the way in the back. And we've been locked in ever since.
That's dope.
That's dope, man. That's what's up, man. And it's so good, man. I mean, by the way, thanks for staying so open with these questions, because you the way you explain everything, every question, you go in details for the viewers. I believe you're doing an amazing job. So thank you for that. Now there is a foundation called the Zero Limitation Foundation. Can you unpack a little bit what that foundation is about?
Oh man, Zero Limitations. The name is pretty much self-explanatory. We want to let people know, man, there's no cap and no limit on what you can do. And a lot of time it's just based around being around the right people, because sometimes, man, we can have another interview about this. But sometimes, man, the youngest just need a word from that right person. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing that they can, they may not have that example in their family. They might not have that OG. They might not have that parent. They might not have that big brother, sister. for example, to show them they can, sorry, that they can make it out of this circumstance. So, and I do a lot of speaking, even with the foundation, or just without it. You know what I'm saying? I talk to, I like teenage youth. I don't know. I like teenage black boys. That's my target group.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I like teenage black boys.
Okay.
Not like that, but y'all know what I'm saying. The talk, yeah, to
Of
talk,
course.
yeah. And man, it just need to spark. It's like Tupac said, you know, you just need to spark the mind that's gonna change the world.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's clutch.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I'm glad you say that. You know, I'm in my 30s, you know, and we all here, we look pretty young, you know. When it comes to the youth, what I'm seeing right now, man, is so much distractions going on right now that just keep their heads so busy.
It's this right here,
bro.
This right here.
Yeah,
That's
fun.
That's nuts, man. So for you to mention that, it's big. You know, Julian and myself, we have we was able to link up with somebody from the school system, and the past event we work I think last week, where we going to have an opportunity to speak to the youth. You know, because I'm trying to remember myself coming straight out of high school. You know, college was not the thing for me, and to have an opportunity to be around the right people, like you said, somebody that you can actually, it's okay, you know, it's okay to make a mistake. You're not perfect, but this is how thing goes. This is what to expect. It's so big. So to all the youth listening to this right now, you know, you may be very confused on what's going on. You know, you may be very confused on what's going on with the world. You know, but like Lauren said, man, find the right people to be around. Find the right people to be around, because at some point you will need some mentorship. You will need some guidance, and you know, this foundation zero limitation, it explains itself, because the only limitation we have is what we impose on ourselves. And society has a great way of making us believe those limitations, and to a point where we become very scared of the future, or you know, we kind of stay to ourselves just because of of what our beliefs are. And that's just to go back to the segment of the lack of fatherhood in our household. You know, our household, I was raised, and my mom and dad fortunately still around. It's such a strong foundation to have mom, dad, or brother, sister that you can trust, you know. And if this is not a component in your current situation, just know that there are people out there that you can give a lot of credit to. You just have to seek for them. So I just wanted to, you know, say that message to the youth listening right now. But Julian, man, go ahead, take it away with the next question, brother.
Oh, let me stop you real quick.
Yeah.
So my college roommate named Tim Hightower. I'm shouting all these people out because, man, you know, these you know, I go to people all the time too. I got my circle of, you know, people who I speak to, and it's been a minute since we connected. We got to get back up, but I think Tim, he probably more of an intellect than I am. You know what I'm saying? And he had this thing. I feel like, man, we talked a couple of times, and he was talking about, you know, fatherlessness. You know, that I'm gonna say that epidemic in our community.
Yep.
And he was like, man, you know, his parents still together too. But like sometimes, you know, people are a lot more intuitive and a lot smarter than they know sometimes. You know, just actually looking for a situation for what it is, you know, can kind of tell you a lot. And he said sometimes, man, if you don't have the structure, you don't have the support system you have, sometimes you gotta make your own.
Yep.
And it may not look like what you want. You might want it to be your mom, or you might want it to be your dad, or you might want it to be big sis or big brother. You know what? Your livelihood depends on the information you get. So, you know, always be a sponge, seek guidance, find a mentor, you know, a coach, anybody that can positively influence you feel like, you know, can add value to you. You know, man, You got to do it, and it may not look like what you wanted to. You know, you might not have been, dealt that deck of cards. So what? It's been a million other people out here who probably been dealt worse cards than all three of us, or even you. Now I see some people overcome some hellacious stuff, man, with super success stories. And they'll tell you, start off, my dad wasn't there, or I didn't have a good relationship, but man, I had this one person, and boom, and sparking to do some awesome things. And anybody can do it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anybody really can.
Most definitely. And you see it a lot where people defeat the odds and beat the odds. And I feel like everybody wants that or wants something, better, but don't know how to really seek it, especially if they didn't grow up in the household with two parents. But all three of us were fortunate enough to have that, and those things go a long way.
Yeah.
And we're like us three. We're here right now. We're talking business, finances, and in our early 30s, late 20s here. And some brothers ain't make it to that age, man. Some ain't even see 20 yet. And some of them never got to see 18. And for you to directly, impact the youth, man, we really respect that. And, I want to give you your props for that.
I appreciate
your flowers here. Because that's one thing for sure,
that's
man.
That's what we got to do, we got to take care of ourselves, but the only way we're gonna move forward as a community, as a people, is first start at home with our families, and then you can't save everybody, but you can reach back and your words can touch somebody, because some people not gonna be as fortunate as we were, and that's just what it is. So you reach back. It's up to them to listen.
Yeah.
But if God put it on your heart, to go share a word with somebody, or the word with somebody, you know what I'm saying? Then you got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're gonna dig in now. Like we about to get into the stuff right here.
We on some mad stuff now. Let's get to it.
We're going into the trucking where everybody is probably waiting on. We're about to get into the numbers, the money, and the trucking, the business side of things. So now we're talking foundation. We just covered his entire foundation and how and where he's gotten to where, he went from NFL to college to NFL and to real estate and creating a foundation. Now let's get into your trucking business and how you got started in that. So let's break that down. Let's unpeel that, man, and start giving some gems and stuff in the trucking industry. We're not too familiar with that. Well, I'm not. I know a little bit, but not too much. So, how'd you get started in trucking, and what do you do in the trucking industry?
How'd I get started? Like I told you,
brother.
I gave a shout out to my dog Mario Wright. We met at a millennial entrepreneurship meetup. I'm talking about maybe like a week right before the world closed, February 2020, right at the end of the month. And I tell a story about how it is. I was actually on the panel talking about real estate. He was standing over to the side. I'll keep the story. I'll keep it like I always do. He's standing over to the side. He's really quiet, not saying nothing. That's how he is. So me, I'm like, I'm really a reserved person, but when it comes to networking and stuff, I know how to talk to people. So I go to him, ask him what's going on. I see him standing over there. Look, I'm about to blow up his spot. He got on the iced out skeleton AP, right? So I'm trying to figure out, like, dang, what he got? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? So he was like, yeah, bro, I got my own trucking company. And it was funny because right before that, I was just speaking to one of my college teammates, probably about right after Christmas. So just like 2 months prior to that, he had been ducked off kind of out the way for me. I'm like, man, Justin, where you been at? Like, man, bro, I started a trucking company. So I'm like, I believe now. So okay, so I just talked to Justin about him starting a trucking company. Yeah, so now it's like a brother to me, not like a brother to me. He got a trucking company. So I'm like, okay. So we after the event, we go to Cam Newton's spot, we go to fellowship for somebody's birthday. So we sitting there, and most people always want to know, hey, what the money look like. And it's the same thing that I've done now to people. When they start showing me the invoices, I'm like, all right, cool. That's all I need to see. You know what I'm saying? My mentality is like, if he can do it, I know I can do it. I know I gotta crawl before I walk. So Man, at the time, the equipment was much cheaper then than it is now. I bought a box truck, and look, I drove it. I drove it a few times. I drove it some, probably for like probably a few months before I found a driver, so I could learn the industry, what was going on, and what happened.
Smart.
Yeah, so obviously putting in the groundwork, investing in myself, learning the business. Now I still learn every day, and I've made some mistakes and it was things that was going on I didn't know, but that's like anything else. For what?
Right.
But that's really how I got how I got started. Yeah, I don't like. I'm a calculated risk taker, but my grandmother's always tell me, you study long, you study wrong. So sometimes you just gotta jump in the pool and learn how to swim, learn how to swim.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
You study long, you study wrong. I love that, man.
A lot of people don't know. Like I got a few people that have hit me up really since I posted, the reel for this podcast. And we got the class coming up too, which I'm gonna do a shameless plug at the end too. So don't.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a new industry. It's an industry that people really, I'm gonna be real, all people want to get into but may not know how to get into, and they pat their feet because they don't know. Man, it's not a crime not to know. So what? Learn this industry, learn the ins and outs, or try or get the information like you do anything else.
Right.
A lot of people, look, I'm not the only person in the trucking industry. It's a lot of people, even on the gram, whatever, they got classes they offering. Some is paid, some is not. Most times you're gonna get the most information for service you're paying for because it's like business. People make you pay for their expertise. But man, it's an industry that everybody can get into, and it's not just moving the vehicles. A lot of things on the back end that happen before you even get the freight on the back of the truck. Now I got a mentor on that side too, and I'm gonna shout her out. Her name's Shaq Teasley, Agate Solutions. She, I took her class and I learned a whole lot. So now I'm learning about how to build my fleet with the trucks on the road, but also what happens to that freight before it even gets on the back of the truck. Man, it's so extensive, man. It's so much you can talk about that I've learned. Now, like I said, I continue to learn every day, about what I can get into. But from I want to know how to get started.
That box truck, how much did you purchase it for?
At the time I bought my first truck, I think it was $22,000. But the demand for those things have gone up right now. Like that same truck right now is like, man, it's like around 50 or 60 bands, which you think about it from a business, hey, look, you got to pay to play. It's a cost of entry. You won't end up making your money back. You just to get in just costs a little bit more. So, you playing a long game a little, may take a little more time to pay off your truck, but if you finance or if you got the money to do it, you can really make that money back within a few months. But if you finance, you can pay it off, but you'll still see some profit. So
how fast you took to pay it off? So you got it 22. How fast you made your money back? I say, or even doubled it.
Oh, I paid for the truck. The truck was paid for probably, but I was in it, and I didn't drive every day. The truck was paid for. If I would have driven every day in the truck, I could have paid it off in a month at a time. At the time. Now, obviously, it would take a little bit more time now because of the cost of the equipment. But, basically what you want to know. You got a box truck, depending on how it's running. If you got, a real good week, depending on what brokers you're running with, or if you got your freight direct, you can make between $5,000 and $7,000 driving in a week in a box truck. Gross.
What are you delivering though? Like, what is it? What's in the box truck? Like, what do you put in there?
Depends. Just any type of freight. It depends on what you're serving now. If your company is certified to move hazmat stuff, you can move hazmat freight. If you got a truck with a refrigerator on it, they call that a reefer. You can move refrigerated food like perishables, like groceries, stuff like that. But pretty much anything palletized, any general freight, anything that can go on the back of a big truck, you can put on the back of a box truck. Given the correct size. Now, also, somebody might want to get into the industry in a Sprinter van, where, hey, the rates are a little bit lower, but hey, it costs a little bit less to get a Sprinter van. Somebody say, hey, I want to enter here. This is my point of entry into the business. I want to start here. I can run my money up here, then I'll graduate to this, or then I'll graduate to the next thing. So that same freight, let's say if it's only one pallet or one piece, or sorry, one pallet or two pallets, that can go on the back of a Sprinter van. And the person, they're in the trucking industry moving freight in a Sprinter or a cargo van. So it's just right now, you look at the finance and see what you can afford and say, hey, how am I going to get in? And then, hey, do I want to get in? Do I want to contract on? Like maybe let's say a company like Home Depot or a company where you're moving appliances, or do I want to run with Amazon? Or do I just want to bid on freight every day? You pick your poison. You figure out what you want to do. But there's no one set way on how to get in. There's no one set way how to get in. Somebody want to start with a high shot trailer. They might want to start with a tractor. Just gotta just be cognizant of the equipment prices right now, given the demand right now. The demand is high, and it's also with some of those vehicles. The whole there's a trade war with metals in Asia right now. The chips coming over, so all that stuff is playing a part, and the demand has gone up because people are noticing, hey, what's going on? Transportation is a very essential. It's essential. 1, 2, 3 days with supply chain stop can mess up everything across the world.
Absolutely.
You're always going to be needed. And I will tell you, before that event, I was actually going to do my first real estate deal here in Atlanta. And nobody knew that the real estate industry was going to boom. It's booming like no other right now. But, everybody was on pause like when the pandemic first started. So the bank that was going to finance my construction for that house, I was going to build my first house for the ground up. I was so excited or whatever. And they was like, hey, you know what? We don't know what's going on. So all the new construction projects ain't been approved. We scrapping them all. So I didn't like that feeling because I felt like someone else had a hand on my money. And I was like, man, you know what? Anything I do now will be offering a service in an essential industry that people are always going to need no matter what happens or what goes on or whatever variant comes up, or the next time they decide to shut the world down. Some stuff is going to happen. It's going to keep going. It ain't never going to stop. So, it's not this, some of these dirty jobs are not as glamorous as having, these 2 degrees up on the wall. But you know what? The people who own the companies that do the dirty jobs, them dudes getting paid most times more money than the people who got these degrees hanging up on the wall. So it's just almost like a shift in thinking. But I'm still using the degree on the wall to run what I'm doing, the things I learned. But just, I'm not just, hey, go to school, hey, get my 9 to 5, hey, I'm gonna work for 30 years and retire. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it just seems like to really, hit your zenith like you want to, you probably want to build something for yourself, and then you get to pass that down to the next generation, because you can't pass down the degrees, you can't pass down no salary. You can pass down the business. That's what they do. Every other they pass down the business.
Yeah.
Saying?
Yeah.
It's 100,
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
That's 100. That was no cap.
Yeah.
No cap on this one right here, man. And great way of explaining it, how people may only know just like you said, one side of the industry, but there is no one way to get in.
Oh.
So it's very
a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I'm glad you say that. I'm really, really glad you say that. Now, knowing you in the industry, and yes, you're still quite new, but you've been experiencing some great success so far. But what would you say is what has been your biggest challenge so far in the industry?
My biggest challenge was probably like the HR part, like, I say human resource, but just managing people. That was one thing that was new to me. That's probably one thing I would say personally I probably struggle with the most, because my mind moved fast, like super fast. Like, well, I'm like this, but I had to realize that everybody's not like that.
Right.
And sometimes this comes just having a little bit of patience, making sure I'm explaining things the right way, and then also realize that, man, every employee ain't, they just ain't. They're not gonna be everything you want them to be, and it's just being honest, man. They might have their own situation, their own agenda. They might want to eventually be trying to work for themselves, and they may not be around long. And then sometimes you just gonna have some crappy. You know, some people just gonna be crappy. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so dealing kind of going through that is probably one of those challenging things. That's probably been the most challenging. Everything else has been pretty cool, and I can kind of handle everything, but probably just ins and outs of people is probably the most foreign concept to me. But that was new. I never done it before.
Yeah. You ever heard of The Multiplier? The book, The Multiplier?
Nah, enlighten me.
Check that book out, bro. It's pretty much what you just said. It teaches you leadership concepts and how to duplicate yourself and other people around you and the people in your workplace.
Okay.
So it's called The Multiplier. It's a really good book because that's probably one of the biggest challenges everybody has in entrepreneurship.
DM me that because I don't forget. I don't have no pen.
Okay. Yeah. I'll hit you that. I'll send that to you. But that's major. That's probably one of the biggest challenges most entrepreneurs have, because when you are, visionary and you have, you think fast, you think on the go, you know how to pivot. The average person doesn't know how to, their mind don't operate that fast. They don't do that. So having to adjust and really to be, emotionally intelligent enough to really adjust your ways and not really snap on people, dealing with employees. I know it can be hard because automatically aggressiveness, coming from football, you super aggressive. So trying to, really work on yourself, that takes a lot of self-development. But let's kind of move back into, logistics side of things. So with the trucks, so you started with a box truck. Where are you at right now? So you have employees. How many trucks are you running, and how are they running daily? Like, are you running them multiple days, or how's it go?
6 of them now.
Okay.
We got 6 of them now, and actually, we're at the point right now about to add different type of equipment onto, like we was talking about before. Add some different type of equipment onto the fleet. Just kind of stay in that space with what I got and go on some different spaces. Try to make some more money. To be real.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I forgot. What was the question again?
And what does that money look like with that, though? So how many trucks that you had, from that box truck? So you said 6.
I told you, even with those, with the box trucks, you depend on how they running, you can make even gross. Now, I'm saying gross, you still got fuel, you still got payroll and all that type of stuff. Depending on the week, you probably can between 5. And I'm gonna say if you go running over the weekend, you probably can get close to 7, depending on your driver, depending on who you booking with that week. And then, like you said, this business is about scaling, so you take that number and then you multiply it times 5 or 6. But then that's just with a box truck. Now, if it's a Sprinter van, which I don't have, the rates are a little bit lower, so that'll come down. But then if you have a hot shot, if you have a tractor, man, you got guys doing between $10,000 and $15,000 a week gross on those vehicles. So the scaling the company quickly can change your financial outlook expeditiously, as T.I. would say.
So you looking like 20 bands.
Man, get out my pocket, dog.
20 to 30 bands, bro.
Don't even add it up, man.
That's per truck. Look, that's per truck.
Yeah, but even still though, you still got, obviously
you got expenses.
You got expenses too, though. You got payroll, and obviously we see what's going on with gas and all that type of stuff. So
absolutely,
you're not keeping it all. Right. You got to pay insurance too.
Yeah, let people know that though. Like those are things that are important. Okay. Yeah, you grossing this money, but
grossing this money, so you obviously some expenses going to be obviously payroll. You got fuel, insurance, and you got to keep something to the side for repairs, because repairs are gonna happen. It's a truck, and they pulling weight. That's all they do. Things are gonna happen, so you keep something to the side for repairs, and then you work out like that. Yep.
Payroll. So I mean, like every business,
let me go ahead. I'm sorry. Not that you got your truck gotta have tracking devices, so and GPS. So that's another expense you gotta account for in a month. You may have a compliance. They have compliance services that kind of monitor you every month. That's optional. You don't have to do that. I had one doing that because, like I said, I learned a lot. I learned more once I started hiring people than I was when I was doing it on my own. We made some mistakes. Drivers made some mistakes. Some of them, I don't know if you make a mistake, that's a decision. It may not be a mistake on purpose, but you know they do stuff, man. And you know, I don't have people leave my truck. I had to go get it, drop it off, and bring. You know, I've had everything happen to me, but you know, I'm not mad at it because now you know it's made me that much of a better proprietor and better business owner because you know sometimes experience is. I don't want to say it's the best, but it definitely teaches you. I would like to have not learned some of those lessons because some of the lessons cost money. But so the business is definitely, man. You get in, you find a mode of transportation, and then you hope to scale your business. And don't scale it too fast because I did that, and scale it at the right pace because I was like, all right, I'm looking like how y'all look. Oh man, I get another truck, I can add this on. I can add this on. Responsibility. Now you got
more problems with it too.
More people, more personalities to manage. You know, you got more responsibility. You got more, you know, more communication with the brokers. And I will tell you, the biggest thing, man, being in the trucking industry is just like being in a relationship. Communication is the most vital thing. You know, it's the most vital thing. You know, the people want to know where their stuff at. They want to know where you're getting. You know, when you're gonna get there. They want you to be on time, be punctual, communicate. Man, so if you can do those things and be safe, be punctual, be safe, and communicate, man, you'll develop a lot of long-lasting relationships with brokers, man. I got, you know, people that I've been dealing with just based upon, you know, just doing that, you know, being dependable. Same thing we back at the beginning of the podcast.
Right,
being dependable. You know, man, it goes a long way, and people will just use you based upon a relationship.
Absolutely.
That's 100. Yeah, that's definitely 100, man. So far, like I said before, every single question we ask you, like it's like so well layered, well, it's not even funny, man. So once again, props on that. And we are getting into an end. You know, the question is, say I know nothing about the industry, right?
Oh, I got the perfect answer to that. Come on.
You know,
yeah. How you get started?
How you get started, man?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I'm gonna tell you what I wish would happen. Man, I took the time when the world was shut down. I took the time, boy. I was just on the computer. I'm talking about Google. I'm talking YouTube University, Googling everything. So obviously, the first thing you do, I would say, sit back and think about, hey, how much money do I have to spend? Or if you want to get in, I know you were talking about doing a funding deal earlier. What does my credit look like? Because if you don't have cash to spend, you can always finance your equipment.
Yep.
All right, so you got to figure out what you got to work with and what you're going to do. That pretty much determine what type of equipment you get. And don't, you know, we think about this like, I think being an athlete, you got a short window to make a lot of money. And in my 30s or late 20s, man, you got another 30, 40, maybe 50, if God bless you, to run a business and make money. So, you know, don't think about your start. And you can still be, I will say, just starting off, even if you're working your regular job, it's not that strange where you can't, hey, not BS at work. Get the work you're supposed to do in 8 hours, like get it done in the 4 or 5 that it might really take you, and then use the rest of the time to work on yourself.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So figure out what you got to spend. And I would say, hey, you can come to the Duo Trucking Symposium because my partner and I are having a class. Really actually geared towards people who are getting started in the industry. So you will have to get your DOT number and do all the federal filings that go along with it. You have to decide whether you want to stay in the state or cross state lines, which you're gonna have to get your MC number. And there's a few other filings that you had to do, but that's just the beginning. Once you sign up or do that thing on the internet, your phone's gonna be blowing up. You gotta get insurance. You're gonna need a factoring company to push your invoices through because most of those brokers pay on net 30, and nobody wants to wait 30 days to get their money back. So that's the point of the factoring company. You're gonna need ELD, which is the electronic logging device for GPS and for hours of service logging, but they don't allow drivers to do logs on paper no more because February 7th of this year, you know, they require all new CDL drivers to go to federally accredited schools. because you used to just be able to pull up to, study the written part and pull up to the DMV and take your driver's test and get your CDL. And to be honest, a lot of them dudes really ain't really know all of what was going on, and man, just they trying to limit some of those wrecks and a lot of safety hazards that's going on out there on the road. So hours of service. Then you definitely need to, is one thing I probably have picked up on, bookkeeping, so you can know bookkeeping on your business so you can know what's coming in, what's coming out, so you can have an accurate depiction of, what you make. Then, of course, hey, if you need funding, there's a lot of places that do funding for businesses, and you can get working capital, you can fund your equipment, and if you got a job and you got credit, hey, instead of going to go get that new car, you can finance this truck that'll pay for that new car, or pay for whatever, or be your second income, or transition into entrepreneurship. Definitely would take some time to learn about road safety and compliance, and to learn about the equipment you're buying, because I've dealt with people or consulted with people who got in the trucking industry, and we might be helping them find freight, and they say, Lawrence, what's this, and that? And they don't know anything about their truck. Man, the mechanics and people on the road will rob you blind if you don't gain a certain amount of knowledge about it's your equipment. You got to learn your equipment. Like I know my trucks better. I know my personal vehicle. I don't know nothing about my personal vehicle, but I can spot, outside of something major, I can spot what's going on one of my trucks. And that's just from learning. And gotta have you a good, reliable mechanic. Somebody you develop a relationship with, man. Hey, and you gotta treat them right. And because you want your truck, you don't want your truck to stay down long. If it is down and you get it back home, if you out on the road and you got to get it fixed, say, sometimes you got to bite the bullet. But say, hey, I'm here in Georgia, me and my mechanic, we got a really good relationship, actually pretty good friends. We get in, get out, we take care of the bill, never mess up the business, take care of them. But you got to have somebody that you can rely upon, because if the truck down, you ain't making money. If the truck down, the driver ain't making money. If it's down too long, you're probably not going to have a job.
Wow.
I think I covered insurance, factoring, EFP, funding, compliance, bookkeeping, road safety. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I missed anything, but you definitely want to learn though. You can't think about this as a hustle. You can't just, hey, I'm gonna get a truck, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna make this money. It's a real business, man, and it's highly regulated. State officers, DOT officers out there, really, they got a quota of tickets that they want to write. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
You'll be that target.
Absolutely.
Got to make sure you're handling your business so that you stay out of trouble. The more you stay out of trouble, the more money you can make. Right. But I am about to throw the plug in right now, and it's a lot of people are like, hey man, how do I get started? How do I get started? So actually, me and Mario, we sat back and said, you know what, man, we're gonna do a class, and I'm sitting in my office right now, and I got everything sitting on my whiteboard, and we got an awesome lineup. It's like if I could have, me personally, I'm saying this now, it's probably something that I want them to recognize the value now, instead of looking back at it and say, man, I should have did it then. Having, obviously we couldn't do this in the pandemic, but having a class that I can go to and actually learn the ins and outs of my business, and get as much insight about the industry as I could prior to jumping in and making mistakes. I'm gonna tell you, I was driving. All your drivers had to have like a DOT medical card. Bro, I was in a truck driving like 4 or 5 months. I didn't even know I needed a medical card. And if I would have got pulled over, like that's an automatic ticket. That's a ticket for you. It's a strike against your safety rating. With the FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. That's a governing body of everything goes on the road. Like I didn't know that. And then if you get an audit at the end of your first year, you don't have it on file, that's another thing. You know what I mean? So it's so much stuff that people really need to know. It's not just I'm gonna get in the truck and I'm gonna get this money. This is a real business.
Yeah.
And if you plan on transitioning from your regular job into the industry, you gotta treat it like a business and realize it's information that you need, and sometimes it's you can't just get it. You don't want to just get it hearsay. You know, you want to get it from some credible people. I mean, we got an awesome lineup of people coming from some, you know, OTR Capital is one of the most reputable factoring companies. We got people coming from Verizon on the tracking device that's actually going to do a demo and actually talk to people about switching their lines over their phones over to business accounts. So you can have a more professional, hey, when they call, you ain't just saying hello. It's gonna say, hey, welcome to blah 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 blah. And they got a lot of services that do it, but you know, I like Verizon. Verizon just sounds, you know, reputable.
Yeah.
The insurance brokers we got coming from Marquee Insurance. What we got? Looking up here, the funding will be the company right now funding. Dispatcher. That's one thing I was missing. So some people just want to drive, and they won't be worried about having to book loads because sometimes with the communication part, like I said, some people good at it, some people not. But some people hire dispatchers. So we have BGH dispatch coming in to actually talk about the ins and outs, to handle the paperwork, how to find freight rates, and for people that, hey, you know, you can get into the trucking industry without even owning equipment. You can start your own dispatcher service, find freight for drivers who just want to drive and manage their communications. And hey, boom, you in the trucking industry, you don't own any equipment. So it's another avenue. Hey, I need capital. Hey, well, let's find these guys freight. And look, they're driving, and you're getting paid for managing on a day to day, and then you get your money up. Then now you know the ins and outs of what's going on. Now, boom, I got my own truck. Now I book my own truck out while I'm BS on Instagram or on Facebook while I'm at work. Let me send this email and build on this freight or get this load, and I manage my truck. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm managing my truck while I'm on the clock. Now I got two incomes at once.
Right.
It all depends on how you want to look. So our class is Duo Trucking Symposium is going to be on April 23rd. It's going to be at the Marriott Century Center in Atlanta, Georgia, from 12 to 4. It's going to be in person, but it's also going to be we have a virtual option too. So the only thing that the virtual people won't get is I'm gonna have one of my trucks out there, and the mechanic is actually gonna be doing a walk around with people, who there, to kind of learn a little bit about, looking at the engine, what they need to look at, just simple stuff like that.
Yeah. Hands-on experience.
Hands-on experience.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that, man, just trying to with a mobile camera and try to make sure the connection is good. That was logistics wise for where we at. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna talk about everything we just talked about, and we actually gonna be doing this company setup right there on the spot. So we're gonna keep going. So when people leave the class, they're gonna have notebook or iPhone notes or Samsung notes full of knowledge, contacts where they need to go. They're gonna know what type of insurance cover they need to get for whatever mode of transportation they're going. Whatever type of equipment that they come to the industry with, they're gonna have. Like I said, man, if I could have done this, if I could have had this during the pandemic, man, I definitely, me personally, because I don't mind paying for information. I definitely would have done it. Definitely would have done it. Right. If you don't, because you can go out there and get a ticket for more than what the class costs. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know.
How you know?
Because I got one. Look what drivers got one. That's why.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty dope, man. How you putting it? It's literally you putting the whole every type of resources somebody can need to start. You're just gonna have them in one place.
Be in one spot.
Yeah,
bro.
In that one spot.
That's neat. That's neat. And you say it's April 23rd, so you guys know what it is. If you're listening to this and it's before April 23rd of 2022, so you know what to do.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing this on the spot. I'm for everybody that's listening to the podcast right now, and I'm a man of my word. We're gonna do, let's see. I gotta show love to both of y'all. The discount code gonna be Agent Broker, all caps. We'll take, I ain't even talked to my homeboy about this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We're gonna take, if you're in person, if you're here in Atlanta, I'll take $200 off the ticket for in person and $100 off the virtual. The code gonna be Agent Broker.
Agent and Broker.
No,
Agent Broker. Agent Broker.
Agent Broker. All caps.
All caps. Agent broker, all caps. Gonna be 200. Oh yes, you know what? Hold on. Let's see. Agent broker for the in person, and then we'll do agent broker V with a V at the end for the virtual. So 200 off the in person, agent broker, and then 100 off the virtual, agent broker V. As soon as we get off, I'm gonna put that on Eventbrite. Put that on the back end on Eventbrite and put that on there.
Okay,
awesome.
So $200 off. That's dope, man. We appreciate that.
We appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
And any way we can, we can help, when it comes to drivers or anything, when it comes to insurance, we do that as well. You know what I'm saying?
So can I ask a question?
For sure. Ask us anything.
All right, so now this is my sponge part because I haven't listened to me talk. So like, I'll be honest, like I've been, I'm looking at it right now, my pops being gone. So obviously the insurance thing is probably something I probably should have been taken care of, but it's not. So and I don't even know, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna come here. I don't know the difference between was it whole life and what's the other one? Yeah, whole life
term
policy
life
and term life policy. But I know how people use insurance as a tool to draw money out of it, and they also borrow from the insurance while it's still accumulating money. And I'm looking at it like, man, I'm looking from the standpoint, let me get this policy so I can, have this thing in place. So you know what I'm gonna do with it. you know what I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be able to put it back ASAP. But obviously just getting that tool, set up the proper way.
Right.
That's something I want to know, and I probably could have did this off air, but hey, I'm asking now because I'm learning. Like I said, I've said before the podcast, man, videos just keep popping up on my feed about how people was using this insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's going crazy right now. Like it's going viral.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So it's like it's something that they've been doing for a while, and it's like okay, now this information, it's just hey, we getting hip to it now. So I'm really trying to figure out what's going on because I got a few things that I know that I want to do with it, but I just need to get those instruments set up in place. So educate me on the difference between the two, and maybe some of what I should look for in those policies, or if what agent, what product I should be going for, if there are any different products to offer.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Awesome, man. You want to go with that, Julian?
Yeah.
Or you want me to go?
It's good. I can get it, bro.
Awesome.
Well, to go back to the basics on so from term insurance to whole life. So the difference, the easiest way to look at it, the difference with term is a term insurance policy is a temporary policy. It's like a contract between you and the insurance company. You're pretty much renting insurance. So okay, if I'm gonna do a term for 20 to 30 years, that 20 to 30 years is gonna give me coverage for probably $500 to $1 million for probably $50 to $100 a month. So it's really cheap, but it's like you renting insurance. So you don't own it, you rent it, like just like you rent a house. You don't own that policy. So you don't deal with the equity side of it. You don't get that part of it. It's just that, but you do have living benefits. So if you get sick, whether that's heart attack, stroke, cancer, any of those like terminal illnesses or critical illnesses, you have access to your death benefit while you're living with that term policy. So you can access that money right away if you were to get sick with any of those. So that is something that's good. So for drivers, say you have drivers on the road, you can offer them group plan. Like we have group plans and policies that we can put in so each driver can get insurance, like life insurance coverage, and you can own it as a business where, okay, if something happens to that driver, God forbid something happens, their family gets paid out, but you also control the policy. So there's ways, that the company can get compensated as well. So, you can replace that employee. And then there's also, you have the whole life or whole life or universal life. So they're both permanent insurance. And those are insurance contracts that you're covered for your entire life, but they have that cash value sector to it. So you have the investment. Well, it's not really called an investment, but it's like a savings portion with a high interest yield. And once if you need to access that money, you can access it tax-free. It grows tax-free. And then when you die, it blossoms and transfers tax-free. That's a certain type of policy, which is universal life, index universal life. So that policy right there is kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but whole life is a more, it's like a level policy. So you need to be paying the same premium every single year. It's not really flexible. So you have whole life, which is a level policy, level death benefit, level premium. So if you're gonna pay $1,000 a month, you have to pay that $1,000 a month to get your guarantees at the end of the policy. Universal life is more flexible. So if you're gonna get a universal life policy, say in the first year you want to pay $1,000 a month, second year money not looking the same as the first year, you have a little more flexibility in universal life, but you also have a higher interest yield as well, because whole life goes up to about 4 or 5, sometimes 6%. With universal life, you have the ability to go up to about a cap rate of 10%, but there's also strategies that are uncapped. So if the market goes up 60% and you're in an uncapped strategy that year, you can get up to 60% in a universal life policy.
Okay.
So you're getting a higher savings yield on the universal life, and then the whole life you have a more fixed rate, if that makes sense.
No, I got it. It's a lot to say. It's
Yeah, it's a
lot. Ways gonna go. Yeah, it's a lot of different ways. We gonna wrap it up. Definitely. Yeah, it's
sure.
something I need to do, and definitely something that I'm interested in. Like I said, I just keep hearing. I keep getting to look into it, so it's time to take care of it.
Sure. And that stuff right there it's deep, because not every agent knows how to do that. And James and I, we've been trained on those things, and we specifically can design a policy. So say you wanted to use it for your business, or you wanted to use it to tap into it, that policy has to be structured a certain way with the least amount of death benefit that the IRS will allow. And it has to be liquid. So if you need to tap into it, that first month or so, 30 days after, you can get up to 85, 90% of the money that you put in.
Okay.
And that's how they do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I'm sorry I came out of the camera. I'm about to add these coupon codes in right now while we talking. Yeah, yeah. We definitely wrap. I need to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen.
For sure.
For sure, James. Man. For sure. We got you. Man. You laid well, Julian. So you covered everything really. But yeah, it's what it is, man. This is how the policy work, and people take great advantage of it. Beautiful thing is when you take money out of it, like Julian said, say you take $100,000 of the policy and you do whatever you got to do with your business. Well, it's like you're borrowing money, so that money actually never come out the policy. So you're still getting those compound interest every single year on that policy, even though you take money out of it. So it's a beautiful a vehicle to use. And most successful, well, not most, but a lot of the successful businesses you hear out there, like Disney, JCPenney, they actually use those type of policies to fund their business. They have the history.
I'm listening to you. I'm adding these codes on right now.
These codes to the
the ones at the bottom of the screen. I'm adding them literally right now while we talking.
Yeah, man. So everybody listening, man, that was a great. I mean, that's actually a great opportunity to actually jump on your trucking business, and that was a plan for you to have that major discount right now. But if you see on your screen, you put that discount code, so when you go to the class, then you're going to have a nice discount, man. That's amazing.
And where is it at again?
Oh, my bad. It's on Eventbrite. You actually can look in. It's in the bio of my Instagram.
All right. So yeah, y'all go to his
Instagram bio, or you can search it on Eventbrite. The Duo Trucking Symposium.
Duo Trucking Symposium.
It's pretty good. Gonna have
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
What time does it start?
Noon to 4.
From noon to 4, you're gonna learn everything about trucking, the insides, and even get a hands-on experience. So if you're in Atlanta, or even if you're not in Atlanta, like, hey, if this tax season, use that money to invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself, man.
Invest in your education. If you put up the money, you're gonna save so many headaches and save so much money down the road just by avoiding simple mistakes that these brothers have made, and everybody that's there to give y'all this, you give amazing value. Like, I'm
gonna be honest.
That's major.
Let's say, and I'm just gonna throw it out there because everybody want to know numbers. One of the little dirty box trucks. I say dirty because just you see and people move in, and you see companies on. If you run that truck right, one of those trucks, you can gross $250 in a year. That's just off of that, a box truck. Now, obviously, if you got a tractor trailer or hot shot setup and it's running all year, you can double that. If you got a team in one of those tractor trailers, you probably can triple or quadruple that, and that's just one. And then if you got a Sprinter van, you probably can cut that first number in half. So you just start with one. I'm not gonna lie, you don't get gluttonous, but you do get a little greedy. Greedy in the sense that, like, all right, you want to hustle some more.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you got an awesome way to supplement yourself. Then you may not even want to run your truck yourself. You can buy a truck and you can lease it on to another company, where another company who may have direct contacts with freight. They'll run your truck and they'll take a percentage. So you can go that way too. If you don't want to be fully invested, you can lease your vehicle on to somebody and they'll run it for you, and they'll take their percentage, what their percentage is, but they'll take a percentage of the vehicle, and then you can be almost not absentee, but
hands off from driving, or
a little bit hands off from managing everything and still making money. There's some people who do that as well.
That's good for people that work still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't be greedy. Like, hey, you ain't really doing the hard hours, so give up some percentage of that money, man. Like,
exactly. No limitation, man. No limitation
at all.
It's
make a lot of sense.
So right now, the agent broker discount is live. They both live, and the agent broker V discount is live. So
Perfect.
you go to select your ticket. The early bird tickets are gone. So you go to select your tickets. You put your promo code at the top. You only can use the agent broker on the in person. You can't try to get it off of the virtual. The agent broker V is for the virtual. So it's live. It's live right now.
Oh,
amazing. That's really dope. Thanks for doing that, man. And congrats to everybody who's gonna take advantage of that. And the thing that sold me on what you say is that, hey, we're gonna have somebody on site to get you start, like your business will start the same day, type of stuff, man. It's crazy.
You're gonna have every contact you need once you get signed up. Every contact you need to do, everything that needs to happen is gonna be there. And it's just get some of that hassle. So you're not asking what I got to do next. What do I got to do next? What do I got to do next? Who should I use for this person? Because your phone's gonna blow up once it goes in the system. You're gonna get a lot of cold calls. You just can sit your phone there and it's gonna ring and ring. I'm talking from the second you hit enter, it's gonna start ringing within the first 5 minutes. Somebody's gonna call you.
That's good.
They're trying to sell service, and people that's gonna be there. I don't put my stamp on a lot of people. And we got good people coming. It's business, but it's good people in business and it's bad people. We got good people coming.
That's dope.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. That is dope. I think that that's actually the first time we have an episode where instantly there's an offer being made and you get so much money off and something that is so valuable. So I hope everyone who's listening, whether it's Facebook or wherever you're listening to, you take advantage of this. So once again, man, thanks a lot, Lawrence. We appreciate that for real.
For sure. We really do. And we appreciate you coming on, dropping some gems, man. And if y'all want to learn exactly what to do, again, y'all got a code to attend the trucking symposium in Atlanta, Georgia.
April 23rd.
April 23rd from 12 p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. You're going to pretty much leave that ready, locked in and ready to go.
Ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
And virtual. In person and virtual.
Perfect. And James has a lot of people who want to get into trucking as well, man. As you see his sign back there, Connecting America. And, he has a lot of people in the trucking industry. I have some people who are interested as well. So I told them to tune into this podcast. So hopefully we can get them on, at the event or on the virtual one, man.
Yeah, you can tell them, man. Sure. DM me. My Instagram easy at Lawrence Sidbury Jr. Man. Shoot me a DM.
For sure.
a
And
message.
he answers them too, y'all. He answered the DMs.
Yeah, you got to, man. You know, you might miss something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I will tell you, man. Doing this, this is a new lane for me. I've done interviews and stuff before, but like, you kind of got to put yourself out there a little bit more once you start to step into this lane and trying to educate. A lot of people out here doing a lot of educating, and some is good, but we all know some of it is money, right? There's
absolutely
is value in this thing, man. Extreme value,
definitely. I can tell.
Getting set up the right way from the jump and getting set up with the right people, man, can help you avoid so many mistakes, pitfalls, and problems, and save you a lot of money. And sometimes it's not about being the cheapest, man, because having the right person, even it might be a couple dollars more, but having your stuff handled the right way is better than cheaping out. Because we all know, I went with this person, they were the cheapest. Now you got this problem, so now you got to come back and you got to spend a little bit more money.
More money, yeah.
You got to spend more money to fix that. So
happens to everybody, man. Taking the easy, cheap way out, man. Never.
It's true.
Almost all the time, never goes that good. So
no, never.
You spend a little bit more money, get the education, avoid the mistake. Boom. All of us has done it here, so we all invested in ourselves. So you guys could do the same thing if you're wanting to get to that next level. Perfect event in Atlanta. Pay the extra, get a flight, take a bus up there, whatever you need to do. Get to the one that's in person. Get to the in person because he said he's gonna have a truck there so you can actually see
the hands-on experience.
Hands-on experience. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Man, that and the mechanic, man.
That's major. Like, I haven't seen anybody do that.
Yeah, and that's sometimes I was at new school and you can sell a lot of stuff online, courses and stuff online. It's cool and there's a lot of value into it because for the people who are doing it, and I eventually I probably will get into that space too, but just that hands-on experience, people actually being able to see, hey, this person that worked from here, this insurance company, hey, I remember that person. They were right there on stage, and I got to talk to them. Or that dude from Verizon, man, I actually got to talk to them. It wasn't just me calling them on the phone. And people from OTR, they actually came and took the time and came to this event. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted, man. They came to these two young Black people's event that they trust and that they feel good enough to stand and actually come speak to us. At our event. Who knows what this will grow to, and I pray for the Lord willing this thing grow into something big. But right now I know we adding value for it's gonna be people that's coming that, hey, look, they in other industries and they looking for another income. But we got some people that's coming, but they gotta make this work because it's all they got. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna help, no matter where, which lane they walking, we gonna help get them right and point them in the right direction.
Right.
It's major.
Doing what they gotta do, you will be successful. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Cool, man. I think we laid down to the details, and I think we cover everything we have to cover. And I think the opportunity is there for anyone to take advantage of that. I'm a living proof of when you invest in yourself, where it can get you. I never see it too much for me to invest in myself because that's the best investment you will make. It's not anything else. It's the investment you do on yourself. So once again, man, I think we cover everything. We appreciate you for coming. You give us some real knowledge. I learned a lot from you. These questions you answer, you went in details. I took notes on what you say. And I can only imagine how much impact you're going to have on so many people in this event that's coming up, and so many lives going to change because it only take one conversation and then a life change. You only take one decision and a life change. And especially we live in a country where it's not perfect, but let me tell you, when it comes to opportunity, that's why people get so confused because they have so many different opportunities. Well, when you have a professional like yourself who's willing to take somebody by hands and take them to the basic steps of understanding what's needed, it's crucial out there, especially because of all the distraction we have to the young people out there and then to the business owners too. Everybody get distraction, but when you have a professional like yourself who really put an event where you have different people from different sources, but all coming for one reason only, is to bring value to the one person that's going to show up, to bring value to the one person that's going to invest in themselves, to learn a business and take the opportunity to live the American dream. Because we have so many opportunities, but the clarity behind them is one of the main reasons that we don't make a decision. So that event will definitely bring clarity. You know, it will definitely bring you to understand the type of decision is going to take and the type of sacrifice is going to take for you to actually get into the trucking industry, where you have everybody from different platforms. Your lender is gonna be there. Your technology people gonna be there. The person to start you up going to be there. A mechanic going to be there. I never heard that before. You're gonna have a big old truck out there so you can see the hands-on. I mean, it cannot get any better than that. Absolutely. You know, so we appreciate you for coming, brother, and we appreciate you for coming and bringing that event. And we also appreciate you once again for that discount you're gonna give to all our listeners to take advantage of your symposium you're gonna have. So thanks again, man.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me. This ain't it, because I got to give with y'all on this insurance stuff too.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna drop one more thing. So if anybody's watching this, I'm gonna throw an extra $100 discount on that code. So whoever signs up under the agent and broker, I'm gonna match you with an extra $100. So that's $300 off or $200 off the virtual event.
Hey, we straight on the system. First person to sign up, look. I guess you and Julian, I'll get the cash app ready. So I'll let you know what it is. The first person who signed up using the code, it's gonna let us know, you know. So
for sure.
So that's what's up, man. Like
another $100 off.
Yeah, that's $300 or $200 off, y'all. So
jeez, it's like Santa Claus is coming to town. What?
Definitely.
my people know, man. I keep it 100. So whoever is that first person who signed up, they know that's for me. I'm gonna make sure they get that money.
100%.
All right, y'all heard it. Yes, sir, man. Thank you again, and we appreciate everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Agent and Broker Podcast with Lawrence Sidbury Jr. And hey, stay on this afterwards, but we're gonna end everything right now. We're gonna tap out real quick, but we appreciate y'all. James, you got anything else before we get off?
Well, everybody who's listening, you know, Julian and I, we highly appreciate the support. Everyone who downloads, thank you for downloading this podcast. And I know some of you probably in your car listening to this podcast right now. We thank you for listening to us. And remember, the number one thing, the number one idea is to bring you value, bring you content that's going to benefit you and your community. And you become a leader and take that flag on your community and eventually become leaders of the world, you know. So thank you for all our listeners, and thank you for Lawrence for being here once again. So that's all I have to say.
Real quick, which one of y'all that rapping on a theme song?
Neither one of us. Neither one of us.
James used to be a rapper, though.
I used to be a rapper.
Okay.
No. There ain't none of us, though, man. We got that. Somebody did that for us, so we appreciate him, too. Okay. But, yeah, for sure. Thank y'all for listening, subscribing, and everything like that. All of the downloads, like James said. And another week in the books. Next week we'll be talking real estate. So anybody looking to buy a home and invest in real estate, we have another guest as well. So y'all look forward to next week. We appreciate Lawrence, and we're gonna chop it up and see y'all next time.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye, everyone.
Later.
The agent and the broker put you on the right path. And if it ain't adding up, then do the right math. And when you wanna come up, some might laugh. But them be the types to be the overnight staff. Always be a worker, we tryna be some owners. Sometimes might strike out, sometimes we hitting homers. But one thing's for sure, when the money gets uncovered, hit the agent and the broker. Say thank you to my brothers.